Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kevin Vidini here for Superpower Review, and welcome to Superpower Review's live stream, Saturday live stream. What's that comic book? I know we've taken a little bit of a hiatus. We took 3 weeks off, but we're gonna get in the back of into swing of things again. We're gonna try to do this weekly yet again. So if you guys are interested being a guest here on What's That Comic Book, do not hesitate to message me on Instagram at KarateKevin67. A link to my Instagram is in my video's description, or this video's description, I should say. But guys, I'm super happy to be back here for What's That Comic Book. We have a packed panel yet again, as we always do for the show. To anybody who is watching and is not familiar with What's That Comic Book, pretty much I hang out with people from the comic community, a panel on the show here. And we all are comic book nerds. We're all comic book geeks. And pretty much we all take turns randomly pulling comic books or pre-pulling comic books from our collection and try to give as much information about them as possible. So let me show you guys who we have for tonight's panel. And they can take a minute or so to introduce each other. So let's see our panel. And we'll start off with Leo, Free Energy.
Yeah, how you guys doing tonight?
We're doing good, man.
We're doing good.
Yeah, my name is Free Energy. If you don't know who I am, I don't have a YouTube channel currently dedicated to comics. I do have a YouTube channel, but it was based on the video games like Call of Duty, and there's another video game called Fortnite. So what I would do is I take the video games and I edit them with music, kind of like montages, get the highlights of the kills in the games. But yeah, that's how I built up my YouTube channel back then. But as of now, you can just find me on Instagram. I post my comic collection. I just started collecting this year. April will actually be this month will be my first year anniversary. So yeah, I just got into comic books super late in the game, but hey, better late than never, right?
That's right, man. That's right. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you jumping on in here, hanging out with us, and looking forward to what you're going to be pulling tonight.
Appreciate Abyss for inviting me, man. Abyss. So.
Speaking of Abyss, what's going on, man? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Will. I'm Book Abyss on IG, and I usually post a lot of horror comics, just anything horror in general. Like, I'm all about that, like just movies, comics, games, anything. That's pretty much about it. Like, I ain't got no YouTube channel. I mean, I got a YouTube channel, but I don't post nothing on it. But hopefully one day I will. But yeah, that's about it.
All right, cool. And we also have Married with Comics. What's going on, guys?
Hello. We're doing really well. How is everyone doing tonight?
Good.
We're great.
So we have a YouTube channel, obviously with the two of us. So my name's Laura. This is my husband, Scott. We both read comic books. We collect them. We review them. And we have a lot of fun.
Nice. Awesome. All right, Murph, what do you got, man?
Well, I'm Murph, Amazing Murfinator. You can find me on Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel. Started about 8-9 years ago. I haven't posted probably in, I don't know, 9, 10, 12
It's been
months.
a while, Murph.
It's been a while for a little bit, but I am active on Instagram. You will find me on live shows here and there, or definitely within the chat group. But what I like long walks on the beach, puppy dogs, and Amazing Spider-Man. Really is what I do. So let's get this show on the road, Kev, man.
All right, let's go, guys.
Let's do it.
So, guys, if you want to show that love and support, which would be greatly appreciated, you guys can go in this video's description down below. Click on those links. Make sure you guys follow these guys on Instagram and also subscribe to their YouTube channels. That would be greatly appreciated. Before we start today's show, though, I do want to say real quick, to anybody who doesn't know about our 3,500 subscriber giveaway, make sure you guys go check that out. There are a lot of great prizes to be won. A fat stack of Batman comics. We got a Batman poster, a Superpower review shirt, 2 Gator Guard comic book cases, and an ASM 361. And I also want to thank the people who donated some of that stuff, like Gator Guard. We got my friend I am Kareem Hassan, and also Paul Cook from Sector 2815. So I really appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys check that video out and enter how enter to possibly win. So let's get the show on the road, and let's start off with Leo.
Alrighty. All right. So my first book. So
I
I
like
figured,
that
you
guy.
know, hey, I like you too, man. But no. So the first comic book I like to show off is actually the first comic book I ever bought. So I was 26 years old at the time. So now I'm 27. But this is the first comic book. So you know, I had gone my whole life without being exposed to much. I mean, sure, I've kind of heard about them, but I never had any dads or uncles or anything like that to show me comic books. No collections growing up. But I was playing this video game called Fortnite. It's a battle royale, meaning it's a 100-player video game. So you play with 99 other players, real players. You're on one map, and basically it's an elimination style gameplay to where everyone has to fight with guns. You know, ARs, shotguns, pistols. You know, those modern shooters that are now the rage in video games nowadays. But playing that game for about 4 years until they finally came out with a comic book related to that video game. So came out with DC, you know. So this is the first issue of that series, and it's called DC Presents Batman Fortnite 0 Point.
Oh, cool.
Boom.
Oh, sweet.
So story behind this book is you see that price tag on there. Look at that outrageous $17 sticker.
Yikes.
So,
Oh, wow.
and the reason for that price is a little thing about this book. So, as you can imagine, Fortnite, you might not know about it, but it is some sort of a kid-friendly game. It has very colorful colors, characters, a cast of characters. The world is pretty vibrant, even though it's kind of has a mature style with the shoot 'em up aspect. A lot of kids, you know, 8-year-olds and up, play the game. So this actually, the first issue of this book, drove comic shop owners crazy, drove them wild. They pretty much hate us now because all they got all day, every day when this book came out was, hey, do you have that issue of Batman Fortnite issue 1? They got a million calls about that because in this book is a code that you can put online. You can redeem a code, like a 10-digit, you know, code, and you actually get contents in the video game. You actually get like character outfits and like different kind of weapons, and so you actually get like Harley Quinn. So you can actually input these codes into the video game and get a free cosmetic as long as you have the code and as long as you bought the book, you would get a free cosmetic. So
That's awesome.
that was the reason for the rage. Like I said, this was the first story that they came out with. They had actually done a Marvel series of covers. They actually did a mini like 1-page story in Marvel before this, the year before this. But this is actually the first full-on story and series. It was a 6-issue series. But so my story on how I got this was I called about 10 different comic shops. I live in Dallas, DFW, Dallas area of Texas. So Dallas Fort Worth area. So we have dozens and dozens of shops. But I called on a Wednesday. So I called on a Wednesday. And as you guys might know, new comic book day for DC is Tuesdays. So I was already a day behind, a full day behind of release on this. So I called about a dozen shops. All of them were sold out. They sold out instantly. When these came out, the first issue was under ordered, low printed because as you can imagine, it's not for everybody. It's only for those players that have been playing the game. Normal comic shop, you know, goers probably know nothing about it or don't care about it. They might have heard the game and they're probably annoyed by it because it's mostly a kid game, they like to say. So anyways, everybody was sold out. I finally called somebody named Cosmic Comics. So that was the shop that had it. Cosmic Comics, called them and they said, yeah, we got a few copies. I had my 2 best friends with me too, and they were playing the game for years too. So they wanted a copy. I said, hey, do you have multiple copies? They're like, oh yeah. So we pull up, and sure enough, this guy had this is the cover C. So this is the cover C. This is the Donald Mustard variant. Donald Mustard is the actual creative director of Epic Games. So Epic Games is one of the largest gaming corporations, kind of compared to like EA, kind of compared to Activision, Blizzard. But right now they're pretty supreme with this Fortnite title. It's still going strong, like 4.5 years later. So as you can imagine, the shops went through this issue really quickly with all these 8-year-olds 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds, and then me, 26-year-old that wanted this book. So finally, I was able to track this down in my whole city of Dallas, got a copy. Kind of sticker shocked at that price. Obviously, it's a markup price. It looked like that's a second sticker on it. Never took it out the package. This is a sealed poly bag. So it's sealed because it has the code inside. That's how you can kind of verify that the code is still in there. Later on, I got this top loader and put it in there. But
Nice.
yeah, so this is the cover art done by the creative director of the video game for DC, for Fortnite Batman issue 1. It's about Batman being dropped into the video game world where he has to battle 100 other characters. Every day he wakes up and he starts the world. The world gets smaller. It closes in on you and actually eliminates you. So the next morning when you wake up, you do it all over again. So it's kind of like an episode of like Groundhog's Day. It's kind of like those movies where you wake up and every day is the same day. So that's what Batman Fortnite is about. He tries to remember who he is. He has to remember who he is. He has to remember what his mission is. He has to write down different codes in the maps to remember who he is. He actually gets intertwined with Catwoman in this series. And if you're a Fortnite lover, a video game lover, this is right up your alley. It actually delivered a bunch of lore heavy story plot that we never got in the video game. So they actually told it through these series of comic books. So ever since I got this book last April on the 20th, I've been going to an LCS every single week. So this book is the book that got me into comic books. I now have over 1,400 comic books in my collection. So,
Jesus, that's fast.
So I've been going to comic book shops ever since.
You've been busy.
I've been pretty busy. I had a lot of catching up to do. That was my excuse. Yeah.
Wow. So I'm glad that you mentioned the cover artist, because I was gonna actually take a wild guess, because it looked like David Mazzucchelli's artwork for a second. It kind of reminds me of Batman Year One artwork a little bit.
Yeah, it has that kind of minimalist, almost, not almost Bruce Timmey, in a way, but yeah, it has that really minimalist. I got that kind of negative space kind of vibe going on to it. Love the cover. So this would be forever in my collection, and for obvious reasons. It's just sentimental, the most sentimental comic I own.
Cool. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, Will, your turn, buddy.
I think I'm gonna be like the most boringest guy, but yeah, like actually got the show. This is actually a really cool. This is Bernie Wrightson's, which some people will argue though, Bernie Wrightson's prototype to Swamp Thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
This actually came out, I think it was in October, like when House of Secrets 92, the first appearance.
Yep.
This came out after that did, but the story that's in here is dated from 68, and he actually drew the story up. It got thrown off. It was thrown in a pile on his desk. I was reading, and never got published. And then finally it got published into this. But there's one panel in this that there is like Swamp Thing standing there. It's not Swamp Thing, but it's a prototype for him, because the rest of the story's got all these little Oompa Loompa guys. They're like little bush guys. They're supposed to be, I don't know exactly, but they're like a Swamp Thing type deal. And but for the most part though, yeah, like this is just a prototype for Swamp Thing.
I like that. It reminds me of like a Marvel Age 12 for the prototype of the black suit.
Yeah, I actually got the prototype for Lynn Wine's prototype for Swamp Thing and Phantom Stranger.
Yep. Phantom Stranger, sweet. What, 12, 13?
Yeah, it's got Neil Adams on cover. Dude, that's awesome. But but like most people, like they don't really talk about it, and a lot of people don't know. But yeah, it's like a prototype for Swamp Thing. Some people argue though, but yeah, pretty much.
That's a wicked cover too.
Yeah, Wrightson did.
Is Wrightson? Would you say he's your top horror artist, or at least in the top 5?
Oh yeah, he's most definitely like one of my top. Like he's the one that got me into comics, like collecting comics, because I used to, when I was like a little kid, I used to go to flea markets and stuff, and they used to have, people there. They had long boxes and they had them thrown on the ground, and I'd go over through and dig, and I never could find like anything cool and I was always digging through, and I was pulling out Howard the Duck, and I had like tons of Howard the Duck,
Yeah.
which he's cool. But one day I found out Swamp Thing #8, and like I seen his artwork, and I was just hooked ever since then. But yeah, it's most definitely cool. Like a lot of these House of Mystery books, they're pretty sweet. He did a lot of the artwork on a lot of the covers and some of the interior and stories, like with the story it's in this. But it's pretty sweet.
It is actually Phantom Stranger 14.
Yeah, I got that same one.
Boom.
That's a beautiful cover.
Yeah. This one is sort of beat, but granted, I only paid a couple of bucks for it. But
It's still.
If I were to find one in the wild that's a little bit better shape, I would definitely get it. I've seen one on Facebook a couple of times where this gentleman has one remarked and signed by Neil Adams. Looks pretty cool.
So yeah, like here's my copy.
Hold on. Yeah, nice. Oh yeah, yours is in way better shape. Yeah, great cover.
Yeah, most definitely.
Story-wise, the book is, a little campy. It's just like pretty much
Yeah.
It's like your classic Scooby-Doo story. Like the dude just takes off his mask. It's like, oh, this guy's just chilling in the swamp. Buddy. All right, so Laura and Scott, are you guys going to be showing a comic book together, or are you guys individually going to be showing a book? It's up to you. I'm totally leaving it up to you guys.
Well, we came prepared for both, but I think for this one, we can both talk about it together.
Cool.
So this is Once and Future. So this is the deluxe edition of Happiness. So one of the many reasons that this one has a lot of significance for us, this was actually the first joint review that we'd ever done on the channel. Originally, I started the channel on my own, and then I kind of dragged Scott on for talking about this particular series. So Once and Future, if you know nothing about it, it's pretty much take all the legends of King Arthur and Lancelot and take all of those and kind of like throw them in a snow globe and shake it up really, really hard.
Same. It's British literature.
Yeah, so like
because it's not all Arthurian, but yeah,
Beowulf and a lot of like classic literature, but then throw it in modern times. And the thing that I love the most is every single time you hear about like a monster hunter, like something is killing the children, you kind of immediately picture a woman who is, or if you hear it's a female, you kind of assume that the woman is in her 30s or 40s. And in this case, this is a woman who's in her 60s, 70s, who used to be a monster hunter, who is definitely retired, and now she's trying to train her grandson how to do it. Except she's British and fantastically snarky. So she's always making fun of the fact that he is chickening out because he's facing a monster like 5 times his size. And she's just sitting there like, oh, just blow him up, dear.
Just get over it already.
Her grandson's a bit of a product of modern philosophy, coming from safe spaces and so forth. So he's not really like what you would call an outdoorsy adventure type anyhow to start with. He's a ginger. She makes fun of that on her own quite a few times. And grandma is just tough as nails, old school. Oh, yeah. We rallied around Churchill and beat the Nazis, and I was fighting these demons all along, and you have no idea what I've been protecting you from, grandson. And her grandson's in shock, alternating shock from learning about his grandmother's prowess and past, and then also shock of dealing with these Arthurian legends and other legends that are come to life in modern times that he's now facing with really no clue of what happened.
And the artwork's done by Dan Mora, which I was trying to kind of just show you really quickly, but honestly, even my quick little previews are not going to do it any justice.
No.
It's beautiful, and the deluxe edition did a really good job of really highlighting it. We did grab the singles. For this series, we found out about it from our LCS, and actually Scott was the one who started it. And they were on issue, I think, like 5 at the time. So we went back and grabbed the first 4 and continued the run through it. But it was one of those that Scott kept talking about how great this series was, and then kept kind of saying, you got to read this, you got to read it. I finally caught up on it, and we absolutely love this series.
So I'll be honest, the thing that grabbed me at first was the artwork. And when I picked up that first issue that day, and flipped it over. It just had and each single issue had a different one-liner on the back. And the one that I started with said, "The king is back. Whoever said that'd be a good thing?"
Yes.
And a question mark. That hooked me. And the artwork on this also is so it's right up our alley. He's turned out to be one of our favorite artists that we've discovered recently, to the point where we have multiple covers of single issues, because it really started getting ridiculous where we subscribed.
Definitely.
And then we would go into the shop and be like, and that one, and that one, and it's really hard to pick. So we started kind of getting them all.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I will say the modern twist on it, with the hero being a bit wishy-washy and the heroine being older and retired, is not even like the key thing that propels the story forward. It's just like icing on the cake, because the storyline itself stands regardless of those characters, and they really did a good job of intertwining ancient folklore with modern political twists, and also doing a little bit of they kind of speak towards some of the things that are going on in modern politics in the modern world through the legends, so they tie the two together without it becoming blatantly like left wing, right wing, or whatever. It's just another narrative and another way of looking at kind of what's going on in the world today through the eyes of somebody that's from a different era.
Well, and I will say the only thing with this particular series is that I can't read it from week to week. So there's so many different plot lines going on at the same time. I typically intentionally get about 5 or 6 issues behind, and then I kind of binge read it, because it's just, I reread it when we got the deluxe edition, and I reread it in one sitting. It's just that good. You can't put it down. But I will say that the main character, Bridget, who's the retired monster hunter, she is definitely one of my favorite female characters that I think I've read in comics to date. Just hysterical.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Sounds really, really interesting. Great job, guys. Great job. Good tag team. I like it.
We try.
All right, Murph, what do you got, buddy?
You sold me on that one.
Why did you save me for last, bro? Because what I got to show is crap compared to what I just saw over there. We had the Fortnite book there, we had the Man Thing there, and then we had that compendium, the Chronicles over there. Like, unbelievable. I got this little silly thing, all right?
That's all right. I like silly.
You're like, what is this? What is this silly thing? So about a year and a half ago, maybe not even that long ago, about a year ago, I've only had this for a little while. I was at a new comic book store that opened up in my area in North Attleboro. It's called Fanico's Chronicles. The reason I saw it is because of this awesome George Perez artwork on the front. And I took it out, and I'm like, oh, wow, look at that. Really cool artwork on the back. I like nostalgic things for me. And when I flipped through it, I'm like, well, all right, there's Henbeck artwork in it, kind of like Mad Magazine.
I just
stuff.
got the House of Hem today, the Henbeck collection. Like, it comes in a little trade.
Yeah. So what really got me with this is because, like, with today's technology, like, you carry this stuff in your back pocket. It's called Google, right? You can look up anything. But back in my day, I had to go to this place called a library, and they had like this.
What is that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and they had this thing, like these card catalog drawers you'd pull out. It's called the Dewey Decimal System. But anyways, I thought this shit was really cool. So here is the Avengers checklist.
That's cool.
Look. So how old school I am? This is my checklist for Amazing Spider-Man. It's on a backing board. I don't put it in my phone. I don't have an app for it or anything like that. That's how old school I kind of go with it. My son says, Dad, you're ridiculous. But this gives you issues 1 through, what did I write down? Through 220. So this book came out in 1982. So it gives you everything that they did. It tells you the cover artist. It tells you a brief synopsis of what goes on, whether it's a first appearance. Doesn't give you, like, if it's a key, because sometimes they didn't really know if it was going to be a key at the time. But that was the one thing that was really cool. On here, you can see where it says the covers. So for example, I'm going to a show in New Hampshire this month. Al Milgrom will be there. Well, what book did Al Milgrom do the cover? It's right here, 120, 146, 154, 155, 182, 209. So if I want to get an Al Milgrom sig on an Avengers book, I can do that. But it's not just all Mad Magazine. I mean, there's some, like, some big boy stories that you can read, like an interview with Steve Englehart, Michael Golden artwork right there.
Yeah.
Right there. It's got John Byrne artwork in here. You get into some of the older advertisements. I just thought it was something neat. Now, is it expensive? No, not expensive at all. High grade, near mint, probably run you $5. I mean, these things are dirt cheap. From the research I've done, there's 5 of them out there. One of them has FF, another one is X-Men, another one's Spider-Man, and I think that one, and then Daredevil. So, they're all from 1982, called Thanatos Chronicles. And this one happens to be all about the Avengers with super cool George Perez art.
Awesome.
That's what I got for my first pick for you, fellas and ladies.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Cool,
That's
man.
I never heard of that series or book. So
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna finish our first round here. So I'm gonna change it up a little bit here. So usually I just pick things out at random, but I read a pretty good story last night, and I hope you guys maybe have read it too. But I have heard about this book for years. Kevin, you got to read this. Kevin, you got to read it. And so what I just got done reading is Daredevil Born Again.
There you go.
This is by Frank Miller, written by Frank Miller, and also by Mazzucchelli, which is my 2 favorite pair of people to collaborate on comic books. I really like it when Frank Miller kind of steps away from artwork to work on story. I think that's where he really shines. I think that's where he's really best for comic books. And I really love Mazzucchelli's sort of style of artwork. It's very noir kind of to me. It's also very, I don't want to say basic, it's simple, but but I don't know. It's let me show you some of the artwork. I like how he kind of use a lot of the brush strokes for like the wrinkles of clothing and whatnot. But so to anyone who doesn't know this story, okay, this is pretty much the Kingpin finding out who Daredevil is, which is Matt Murdock. So Karen Page kind of goes into rough times, becomes a heroin addict, and to get her next fix, she ends up selling out Matt Murdock's name. The name ends up going to Kingpin, and the Kingpin just makes Matt Murdock's life absolutely miserable. So Matt Murdock loses his house. So he ends up blowing up his house. He gets the IRS involved. All sorts of crap. So it's not like so much like a Daredevil story. It's more like Matt Murdock coming in to rescue the day and saving himself. So this is also kind of going with the Daredevil series of Netflix. This is really kind of written from that as well. Matt Murdock also finds out who his mom is, who is a nun. But this is just great storytelling. Again, one of my favorite teams here, Frank Miller and Mazzucchelli, who also wrote Batman Year One, which is one of my favorite stories of all time. Favorite Batman story of all time, and definitely one of my favorite stories of all time. So
Definitely cool, Kev. Definitely cool.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right, so we are almost a half hour in. We just got done through with round 1. Guys, if you're watching right now, I appreciate you coming and nerding out with us today on this fine Saturday night. Don't forget to smash that like button. That would be greatly appreciated. If you're new here to the channel, click on that subscribe button. And if you're watching on the rewind, let me know in the comment section what was your favorite book that you saw in today's live stream. Also, don't forget to go in this video's description down below and show some love and support to my panel by following them on Instagram and subscribing to their YouTube channels. So with that being said, let's start round 2, and we are going to go with Leo yet again.
Alrighty. So as you can see, I may be a fan of this character. Maybe you heard of him, Dr. Doom. He first appeared in this book. Well, not this one. This is a True Believers reprint. But this is the one I found for $5 at my LCS. Another huge significance book for me, just because. This is my main character collection. Going into comics, they always say, tips for beginners. They say, oh, well, follow someone character that you like, and or a story that you like. So immediately I was gravitated towards Dr. Doom, mostly because I was a huge hip hop head. So there was a hip hop artist, a rapper by the name of MF Doom. So MF Doom was a rapper that actually donned the personality of Dr. Doom in a sense. He named himself, but he also wore a silver mask over his face, just like Dr. Doom did in the Fantastic Four. But this is not the book that I wanted to show. This is just the first appearance, created by Stan Lee, drawn and arguably created by Jack Kirby as well. So Jack Kirby and then Joe Sinnott with the inks. But so if, speaking of prototypes, I think it was pretty funny that you mentioned the prototype. So does anybody in the panel know or have ever heard of the Dr. Doom prototype?
I have, but I can't remember the issue.
So the issue of that is Tales of Suspense number 31. So this book is the book I wanted to show. This is another book by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. And look at this guy. Does that look kind of familiar?
Looks familiar to me.
So it's an Iron Mask. It's called The Monster in the Iron Mask. So much like many of the Silver Age books from back in the day, they had multiple stories in them by multiple artists, multiple creative teams. This actually has like 4 stories in it, including not only the Monster in the Iron Mask, but also has a story by Steve Ditko. It has a story by Dick Ayers. So it has a Don Heck. Don Heck actually has a story as well. So you get a lot in this book, but mostly what I'm going to talk about is the prototype aspect. So prototypes, in theory, logically, chronologically, they have to come, or they usually come before the actual character's appearance, right? So this would be Dr. Doom's first appearance, 1962. And here's where the problem comes in with this prototype. The problem is it didn't release before Dr. Doom, or Fantastic Four issue number 5. It actually released in the same exact month and year as FF number 5. And what complicates kind of matters worse is it not only came out in the same month, but according to all accounts, according to comics.org, it has a on sale date. It has a release date of the same day. I believe it's like, I don't know, the release day that it actually made it on shelves was like April. Guys, I know how like it often doesn't match up with like the actual indicia, like it's published different dates. So, anyways, it actually was released on shelves the same day. It actually even has the same patent date. So when Marvel took the patents to the patent organization to patent these characters, these books, same exact date. So that kind of complicates things, right? It's like, hey, maybe this isn't a prototype. Maybe it can't be considered a prototype if it came along in tandem with Dr. Doom's first appearance. So, well, through independent research, I've actually cracked the code. I believe through sheer will and determination and self-investigation, I, for one, have revealed to the world the mystery behind whether or not this character could, in fact, be a Dr. Doom prototype. Well, if they came out on the same day, if they were published on the same day, if they were patented on the same day, if they were released on the same day, well, how can this be? How can we? What other ways is there to determine which work was worked on prior or after? Well, back then in Marvel, with Stan Lee's bullpen, they called it the Marvel bullpen.
Yep.
They would actually use this thing called job numbers. Job numbers was a form of categorization that they used in their business in order to keep all the issues in line with the workload. So let's just say an example, FF number 1, the job code would be 1. FF number 2, the job number would be number 2, and so on and so forth. Job numbers would always be in lines of succession. They never went backwards. It always was, Jack Kirby worked on this first, so he numbered this. Oh, we can tell that Jack Kirby worked on this after because that number is way after that. So on the first splash page of this, you actually get the splash page of the monster in the iron mask. It's actually a different looking monster than the cover. They kind of use a clickbait kind of green monster here. In the actual book, he's an orange furry monster, but he also has the same mask. So on that, and what led me to this research is I saw the code at the bottom, and that code says like V734, or it says like V714, 715. It says one of those. And I was on comic.org, and I realized I had seen that job number code before. I always wondered, what does that mean? What does that mean? And I looked it up. So I was like, wait a minute, maybe I can actually cross-reference the job code for Fantastic Four number 5 to see what the progress of work was, to see, which one actually was worked on first. And sure enough, both have available job codes. So like I said, through independent research, I was able to determine that Jack Kirby and Stan Lee had actually worked on this book prior to working on Fantastic Four issue number 5, if we are taking into account the job numbers that I was describing. And this job number has a lower job number, and it comes before Dr. Doom's first issue.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
This book isn't easy to find. Last time I checked, there's like 2 on eBay. They go for hundreds and hundreds, $800, $700. There's Tales of Suspense run collectors, obviously. That's the Iron Man run. So this actually predates Iron Man as well. This book is not a cheap book or not an easy book to find, but luckily I have a Dr. Doom collector in my midst that is just like me, that collects Dr. Doom books. He was giving this away. So I got it for a heart song. So super happy to have it. It was Eugene's copy, as you can see. So it's not without any, blemishes on 17th East 36th Street. So happy to have it in my collection as a potential Doom prototype.
Cool, man.
I heard that
That's
guy
awesome.
Eugene has the best collection ever. So.
That Eugene pedigree is something to not mess with.
Pedigree.
Yeah, it's a force to be reckoned with.
Cool. All right, we're gonna move on to Will. Will, what do you got?
Actually, I went digging back through, and I wanted to share this. I actually just picked this up, but this is the actual unofficial first appearance of Jason Voorhees.
Oh, cool.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of kooky a little bit. They actually spell his name with 1 O instead of 2.
Huh.
But yeah, it sort of plays out just like Jason Lives. So it's pretty neat. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Very first appearance of him in comics.
Never even really thought of that, Jason Voorhees in comics. What would be that first appearance? I've never asked that question.
Well, yeah, it's like the unofficial.
Yeah,
they didn't have the copyright, but I mean, obviously, that looks like Jason's mask to me. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's kooky. I think the first one's the Chainsaw Samurai.
Samurai. Well, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's something to do with Jim Lee's first published work.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
But this is part 2, and this
with
is
the
actually,
Samurai Santa.
Yeah.
That was actually featured on the
All
show
right, all right,
last
all right,
time.
all right. Yeah, that's the Samurai Santa. But yeah, like I don't like. That's a different one then. Sorry, but yeah, there's a one. It's a Chainsaw Samurai or Samurai Chainsaw. It's got a
That sounds sick.
yeah, it's pretty cool. We'll have to pick it up sometime. But yeah, this is pretty neat though. This is like the unofficial though, but Jason Voorhees in comics.
Cool.
It actually plays out just like Jason Lives, like where Tommy comes back and digs him up and stabs him with the fence post and gets electrocuted and comes back to life. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Cool, man.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. And we're going to go on with Married with Comics. So again, Laura and Scott, if you guys want to pick one individually or pick one together, I'll totally leave it up to you guys, okay?
So apparently we're going to do my title. And I picked this one up because it was a Scotty Young. Everyone knows Scotty Young for his artwork, but this is one of the series that he had written as well. So this is I Hate Fairyland. So this is volumes 2 and 3. I read volume 1, of course. There is a volume 4 that's out already. Now, pretty much everyone's familiar with the idea that, like in the 80s movies, Labyrinth, the never-ending story of how great it would be if you were able to be transported into your favorite book in a sweet little, adorable fairyland, and then you had to solve the mystery to then be able to be returned to your home from this magical land. Well, instead of having something straightforward and cutesy like that, Scotty Young takes a fun, great twist on it, and he introduces Gertrude, who is probably the worst person to be sent to fairyland. Of course, she can't cuss, so everything on here, like the title on this is Fluff My Life.
Yeah.
So every single time she starts cussing, it's always, fluff this, muffin that, and it's hysterical, but she's been stuck in fairyland for 30 years because she cannot figure out this map. And of course, the map is simple, like, help this person find their lost dog, and they will give you the key to the next part of the map, and then the next part. But she has no good intentions in her at all. So she keeps going to the first place, and instead of finding the dog, she kills the dog, and then she maims the next person, and then she starts blowing things up. So she just has no knack for any kind of good deeds, and at one point has decided to just kind of like self-destruct all of Fairyland and try and destroy it to get out. Realizes that doesn't work, so then she tries seeing if she can create her own good deeds. Every single small thing to try and figure out how to get out of this magical kind of cutesy hellhole that she's found herself in. And it's a really fun read. Everything that's going on right now, whether you look at politics and you look at just a pandemic and life, and honestly, I needed a fun, happy read. And this was just cute. It was funny. It's just definitely a great example of Scotty Young doing what he does best with his artwork. And there's Gertrude is the main character, so she's the green-haired kind of monster over here. Yep. But she has a guide, Larry. And Larry is this sort of fly that's supposed to help her read the map and navigate Fairyland, except Larry at this point has been stuck with her for 30 years and has given up all hope that she's ever going to get out of Fairyland, let alone he's going to be rid of her. So the two of them go back and forth of him just like, oh, no, you're not going to destroy this. And it's so funny to read the two of them. So I really, really enjoy it. And I think it's just a great example of when Scotty Young gets to do what he wants, you can tell he has a lot of fun with this series.
Cool. Are you guys, oh man, I can't think of the story now. Now it's slipping my mind. Is it the monster you love in me?
You Love in the Dark.
Yes, thank you. Are you guys reading that?
I read the first two and I wanted to grab the trade, and I haven't read the trade yet. But what I read of the first two issues were great. The artwork was very well done. It was just a very subtle horror story, which
it's a real quick read.
Horror stories. Yeah. But it was taking its time to kind of build to that point. But still very beautifully done.
Yeah, I was actually going through the bins, and I actually saw a Scotty Young signed Fairyland issue #1. It's like the F. It says the F. The cursed edition. It has that one. So it was only $20. I was like, wow, I'm kind of surprised it's just sitting in the bin for $20, like signed.
I would have grabbed it for 20 bucks.
I was like,
hey,
wait, where
hit
do you
me up.
live?
Hit me up.
How far
I'll
away is
send it to
your
you.
LPS? You know.
I'll grab it and send it to you. Like if no one grabs it by next week. So
Very cool.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah.
We got my buddy Steve Burke Family 54 Comics in the house. Just want to say, hey, what's going on, man? Scotty is the pride of Kansas. If you guys can't tell, that's where he's from. Cool. All right, Murph, your turn, man.
My turn already. All right. So, Kevin, if we would have done this show 3 weeks ago, my next selection would have been. Oh, Jesus Christ! Hold on. Fuck.
Murph, where'd you go?
Shut the door to the boiler. But anyways, my selection would have been a lot cooler 3 weeks ago because I'm hearing mixed reviews about the Morbius movie that has just came out. Some say it's good, some say it's shit. I'm probably going to lean towards crap. But this is Vampire Tales issue 1.
Oh, yeah.
And
nice.
So what happened in Vampire Tales issue 1? This came out in 1976, I believe. Nope, 1973 is what I wrote down. This is considered Morbius's first solo story.
Yes.
We all know ASM 101 and 102, with his first and second appearance. Marvel Team Ups 3 and 4. And then Adventure into Fear number 20. I have all of those as well, but they're all getting, oh God, I got them signed like, I don't know how many, it seems like years ago these days, waiting for my CGC order to come back.
How long has it been, Murph?
Oh, I don't know, August?
Wow.
Or so. And then maybe one in September with Roy Thomas. I got a few Roy Thomases on them. But anyways, so this is the story is written by Steve Gerber, and the art, which I'll show you in a second, is by a gentleman, Pablo Marcos. And
yeah,
it ain't too bad, ain't too shabby at all. I really enjoy the artwork on here. The story was pretty cool. I mean, it's a typical Morbius story. He wakes up, he's thirsty, he's got to eat. He meets that chick right there. And I want to say it's her first and last appearance because she dies at the end of this story. They call her Madame Lyra. I don't think she's going to be anything. I don't know what's going to happen. Actually, excuse me, that's not her. It's this chick right over here with the leopard suit.
The leopard print. Check that fashion out.
Right. Not bad. That's high fashion for 1973. Actually, it's probably in fashion right now. But, if you guys aren't familiar with these magazine size, they're fun. There's probably 5 or 6 different stories in here. Roy Thomas had written another one that was in here. Marv Wolfman, Jerry Conway, Don McGregor. I'm just going, or Chris Claremont did something. Steve Gerber.
Yeah, they could get away with a lot more stuff in them
Yeah.
in the comics.
Yeah.
So very cool. I'm happy to have this one. I want to say you can buy these. Obviously, condition is everything. Super high grade. This one's pretty decent. It's got a couple ticks going down the side, but I want to say you can spend anywhere from, like a mid grade. Like this, upwards to $50 to $100 or something like that is what I would think you would want to, well, maybe you don't want to spend it, but it's what they're going to charge you for it, for sure. The back is nice and white.
Cough it up, man. Pay that $100.
$100? Yeah, why not?
It's friend,
pretty cool. I like it. That's my second choice. Vampire Tales. Number 1, the first solo story of Morbius. Like I said, it would have been cooler 3 weeks ago.
It's still cool, Murph.
It is still cool. That's the thing. So it's vintage. It's nostalgia. That's why it's cool.
That's right, baby.
Did you hear that someone apparently is comparing the new Morbius movie to Venom Let There Be Carnage, saying it's on that level of bad?
Really, I've heard worse. I've heard worse. Worse than Let There Be Carnage. Can you imagine that?
That's
I don't
saying a
know.
lot.
That's saying a lot. I
is saying a
have
lot.
seen two people on social media post pictures of themselves at the theater, and they are the only person in the theater watching the movie. I can't believe that. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I think that's nuts. I don't plan on seeing it. Does anybody plan on seeing it?
Not
No.
in theaters.
Not in the theater, no. Yeah, like there's a joke going around where it says, my car window got smashed 'cause I had
Yeah, I seen
2
that.
tickets for Morbius on my front seat. And then I found 2 more.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think that's also going to hurt Jared Leto a little bit too. I mean, I think that might hurt his career a bit because this is his second comic book movie as a main character, and well, I shouldn't say main character for DC, but a pretty important character.
Pretty prominent Joker, yeah.
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 So I don't know. It's not. I don't know if I see any more comic book movies in his future. All right, so let's see. My turn here. Let's see. You guys want to see something from the Rocky bin? You guys cool with that?
Yeah.
Let's go into the Rockies. I feel like I do that one all the time. You know what? Since I've been on such a Daredevil kick lately, I'll show this one off. Here's a funny story. So here is a Daredevil, number 131, the first full appearance of the new Bullseye. Okay, not the old Bullseye, the new Bullseye, as CGC says. Here's a funny story, guys, right? Have you ever played a game of rock, paper, scissors, shoot in order to get the price of the book that you want to pay for that book? No?
No.
I thought this happened all the time. No, I'm kidding. So I was in Florida, vacationing in Florida, and this was on the wall for $50. And I was like, sir, I would like to pay $40 for that comic book if you don't mind. And you know, he seems like a fun guy. He's looking at the book, he's looking at me, looking at the book, looking at me. He's like, I'll tell you what, all right. I'm gonna play you a game of rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay. If you win, you pay the $40. If I win, you pay the $50, or you just walk away. I said, let's do it, dude. This was the most epic game of rock, paper, scissors, shoot ever. We went 8 rounds of rock, paper, scissors, shoot, playing the same thing at hand all the time. Okay. I would pick scissors. He would pick scissors. We'd go again. This was the most anxiety riddled game of rock, paper, scissors, shoot ever until I finally won. And I ended up paying the $40. So this is one of those books where, yeah, it's got a really cool story to it. It's got a first appearance, but sometimes you just get that fun little story. And I walked out of there. Okay, so again, I'm vacationing in Florida. The last time I went to Florida, I did a lot of comic book hunting videos there for the channel. I did videos, and my wife was like, "Are you going to do videos this time where we go to Florida?" I'm like, "We'll see, we'll see." She's like, "Please don't." You're on vacation. Let's be together, okay? I'm like, all right. So I'm in the comic shop for the longest time because it's a big one. It's a Coliseum of Comics. I don't know if you guys have ever vacationed in Florida and been to Coliseum of Comics, but it's a wonderland of comic books. You'll spend hours there. I was there for about an hour while my wife was waiting in the car ever so patiently for me. And I finally came out, and she goes, "Man, you took forever." I go, "Listen, I know you told me not to do video, but I should have done a video here, okay? I just got done with the most intense game of rock, paper, scissors, shoot with the owner." She's like, "Why would you do that?" I'm like, we're playing for this book on what price to pay for it. This would have made a great video." But that's pretty much my short story on my Daredevil number 131, playing rock, paper, scissors, shoot for a comic book. So we are 54 minutes, and we got a couple more minutes until we reach the hour. So why don't we do just like a quick round here? So let's keep it like maybe under a minute, and so everyone can show off one more book. So Leo, what do you got?
All right, actually have Vampire Tales number. No.
Nice,
This is a joke, but no, but I got this today. So I'm actually a Blade collector, Blade the Vampire Hunter. And actually at number 8, this is number 10, but number 8 is considered his first solo story. But number 10, look, you actually get a special Blade feature, the Vampire Slayer, wanted for murder. So I walked into, I got done shopping at my normal 2 LCSs like 45 minutes away from my town, but they actually have a small hole in the wall, like mini tiny shop in my town that has like a bunch of keys, bunch of random stuff. But they actually had this when I mentioned Blade. He's like, "Oh yeah, we have this one." He's like, "Interested?" I was like, "Oh yeah." So $20.
Hell yeah.
$20 for this. I mean,
Yep.
it's not a bad condition at all. I don't think. I mean, it's it has some ticks here and there, but I can't wait to read it. Check out the Blade. I know. I mean, since it's one of his first early issues, so it's in magazine format. Cool. I just brought to bring that up because Murph brought up his. So I thought that was kind of funny too that I got that today. But just 2 books real quick. So we know this. This is the first appearance of Dr. Doom, True Believers reprint. The real one costs what, $5,000 for a 0.5, something crazy like that. It's like $1,000 per point. Goes up to like 10,000, 15,000, 30,000 if you want a nice copy. So I don't have that type of money.
Superpower review money.
Yeah. But what I did buy one day was my first ever slab. So my first ever slab that I bought, I did win a slab before this, but this was the first slab I ever bought. 9.8. Do You Poo? Marat Michaels. Y'all might have heard of these books. So
yeah,
this is actually a metal cover. So
cool.
It's, it might be hard to capture, but man, just that flame on that Human Torch. So this is an homage to his first appearance, but this is a Do You Poo Marat Michaels from Image Comics. He's a pretty legend, but what's kind of cool about this too is that it's only 50 copy printed. So this is 45 out of 50. This was the only copy on eBay at the time. Turns out this guy lives an hour from me. So I was able to save on shipping. I was like, "Hey man, you want to just meet up?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so it made it a lot cheaper. So as you can see, that metal cover, my first metal cover, my first slab, and it happens to be a Dr. Doom homage. So I just thought it's something really cool.
Yeah, that's
and
sick.
Thanks, man. If this is our last thing, this is our last presentation, right?
Yep.
So one last thing, I don't have the first appearance, the real first appearance, but what I do have is the Spanish first appearance of Dr. Doom. So I actually have the pocketbook digest of FF number 5, and this actually came out in the year 1969. So only 7 years after the original. And this is a pretty rare artifact as well. I was able to get this from one of my best friends on Instagram called Doom Card. So I told him about this auction. He bid on the auction. No one bid besides him, and he actually passed it down to me. So this actually has a black and white reissue of issues number 5 and 6, the first 2 appearances of Dr. Doom. So there's him with Submariner. So just a really cool artifact. You got him in red instead of green, and then gold instead of silver. So just a really random, cool little Doom book.
Cool. I actually used to have the Portuguese edition of Secret Wars number 8.
Nice.
Yeah, those can be pretty cool sometimes. All right, Will, real quick, what do you got?
I have you like turtles?
I do like turtles. I like turtles.
Me too. But yeah, Michael Dooney, like cover. Everybody knows this is the old school NES artwork for the box. I actually have that. I was gonna dig it out and share it, but yeah, kids, man. Like my son would be all like, "What are you doing in my room?" But yeah, like I actually love this second print, like Turtles number 4.
Very nice.
Super cool. Yeah,
That's
super
dope.
cool, super nice. And then
That's a wraparound too, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. You want me to pull it out?
No pun intended, right?
But yeah. Got that. I was super happy to find that. And then I got this, like, which I think is funny. Like, if you're old school, then you know what this
Yeah.
book is. But yeah, like I've been seeing like that they don't classify this as the first appearance of death in Marvel.
I see that
whatnot.
cover all the time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cover. It's a Gil Kane cover. So
Fire.
yeah,
Cool.
love it. But yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. That's all I got.
Sweet. Thanks, Will. Appreciate
Yep.
it, man. All
Thank
right.
you.
And then we got Laura and Scott.
Hey, just Scott this time. So I'm really torn. So there's two that I've been reading and recently I've been catching up on. But I'm going to go with this one because it's got a little more nostalgia to me. It's Betty Page and the Curse of the Banshees. I finally finished up on this little, I think it's a 5-issue or 6-issue series. I just finished it. Betty Page, going way back for me when I lived in California. I was in Ocean Beach area and walked by a comic shop out there before I had started collecting again, and saw a poster in the window and a few other things that I recognized, and walked inside and saw a copy of Rocketeer. And from there, in a conversation I got into with the owner of the comic book shop, started hearing more and more about the Betty Page and the inspiration for that. And he had a poster of her that I wound up actually buying and bringing home with me. So that kind of kicked off my interest. And then since then, it's always just kind of been like I won't call it a guilty pleasure, but it's like I kind of go back to that time 20 years ago when I was in that place every time that I read one of these books. And it's the newest series. There's a new one coming out this summer, a little later this summer. But in this one, she's in Ireland and she's hunting down a banshee with an American cohort agent. And the short version of it is the artwork's incredible for me. It's throwback to the pinup era, which is one of my favorites. I'm a big fan of DC Comics Bombshells, that whole series.
DC Bombshell.
Yeah. So that kind of art in particular is my eyes drawn to it. Always been a fan of it. And when I get to see it in print fashion like this, especially with a character that most people know one way or the other, whether they know it's Betty or not, that inspired it. They know a lot of stuff that she's been responsible for kind of inspiring all throughout pop culture long after she was really famous or infamous. So that's my last one.
Yep.
Okay. Laura, you got anything? That's it?
No, I was at.
Okay.
We went through my titles, so I figured I'd let Scott wrap it up.
Okay, cool. I appreciate it. All right, and Murph, what do you got for your last one?
What do I got for my last one?
Look at him. He's smiling. He's smirking. That's that evil smile.
I got something similar to what Free Energy showed up first time. This book right here is, again, if I can collect single issues, floppy issues, I want to. But what's the next best thing you can get? A trade. You can get a collected edition. This is similar to what you showed just a little while ago, Free Energy. This one is probably one of the favorite books.
Oh, that's epic.
One of the favorite books in my collection. All right. This is called Bring On the Bad Guys by Stan Lee. Origins of the Marvel Comics villains. People in the industry, I could call them, you can call them firesides. That's because that's the publisher, I guess. Yeah, Fireside book. So there's multiple Fireside books out there if you search on eBay or Instagram or whatnot. A good friend of mine from Instagram, Tom Ryan, he's a fellow collector of Firesides. I probably have 4 or 5, and this is the one that I like the most. And this one is probably one of the most popular ones out there. This was originally printed in hard cover. Okay, this is the soft edition. A little bit of information. This came out in 1976. Features the origin stories of Doctor Doom, Dormammu, Loki, Green Goblin, Abomination, Red Skull, and Mephisto. This is a beautiful John Romita Sr. Cover. I can just imagine what this artwork would go for, to have all those villains.
Oh, yeah.
If that went up on like Leland's or Heritage or something like that. But it's got, FF5. It's got Strange Tales 126, 127. Journey in the Mystery 112 to 115. Tales Suspense 66 through 68. That's all the Red Skull stuff. It's got ASM 40 for the Goblin, and Tales of Astonish 90 and 91, plus Silver Surfer number 3. And the cool thing is, without the strong, everything's in color on it.
Oh, cool.
So
Nice.
you get a lot of trade paperbacks back then. Sometimes they're just all in black and white. This is all full color. It's the original artwork by whoever is credited with that particular issue, whether it's Kirby, whether it's Ditko, whether it's Buscema, whether it's Ramita. Yeah, boom, right there. Fireside, bring on the bad guys. They can be pricey for sure.
Yeah, that's a beautiful copy, man.
Condition is everything. I would think you could spend anywhere from again, $40 to $100 on something like this. The hardcover is just forget about it. Unless you have Superpower Review super chat money or something like that, then you can go from it.
No super chat money here. Leo's frothing. Look at him. He's like, oh, I gotta go that way.
You're really tugging at my
Gotta get the
heartstrings, man.
GoFundMe.
I
Gotta
need
get the
that.
GoFundMe on.
I've known about that, but that's obviously like not something that you just come across every day. So
yeah, if you see it at a convention or something like that, if it's in your budget, I say just grab it. Just get it. Put it in your box and move on.
Before we wrap up, I just want to say hi to my wife who is watching from Brazil. She's vacationing and she's watching with her brother. So thank you so much, wifey. Appreciate you. So guys, that's going to do it for the show. To my panel, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight.
Of course.
It's been great fun. And I hope I can see you guys make a return to What's That Comic Book. It's greatly appreciated. And to the people who are watching tonight, you are also greatly appreciated. I thank you guys for coming and hanging out and nerding out with us today. Don't forget to smash that like button. That's super important. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And don't forget to enter my 3,500 subscriber giveaway. And lastly, do not forget to show love and support to my panel tonight. So guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I appreciate you yet again. If you guys want to be a future guest here on What's That Comic Book, you can email me at superpowerreview9@gmail.com, or you can just message me on Instagram at KarateKevin67. I'm Kevin Vidini for Superpower Review, and I'll see you guys next time.
Good night, Canada.
Good night.